Dear ESOM students, my name is Daniel Innocent Kiyega, the Director, ESOM School of Music. I would like to thank you for choosing ESOM School of Music. I and my team do not take that for granted. Also would like to congratulate you for reaching this far. Journeys start and some people drop off on the way, some people drop off in the middle, and some people go until the end. So now that you've reached this far, I would really love to congratulate you. I've received a few concerns about the new systems that are being implemented, and I thought I should come out and shed some light about these systems, the importance and why the school is implementing these systems. As you might have noticed, most of these systems are driven by technology. Most of them are based on the internet, systems and all that. That's where the world is today. The other day I was driving in traffic jam and a traffic officer came and put a machine on a car which was in front of me. And the next thing I saw, he was giving him a receipt and coming at the back of the car and took off the registration number. Now this is the technology. I asked a friend what really happened. Why were they taking off those registration number? And he told me, no, nowadays they have a way of knowing all these things, parking, taxes, and all those particular stuff. Now, when your school introduces such system, they can be a blessing in disguise, but these are systems which can help us propel our school to greater heights. So it would be very good if we look into the reasons why these systems are implemented at the school and how they are going to help us at the school. One student made a joke and he said that with the director, everything is possible. The next thing you know, they are going to password protect the stairs so that you need to put a password to get upstairs. Actually, I told the lady who manages the classes, and jokingly I said, you should tell them the next thing we are going to do, we are going to password protect vocals, the vocalist. And of course, you know we can't do that. So one of the reasons why we are putting these systems in place, most especially the practice system, there has been inequality and no equal opportunity where some students sit on the computer and it stays there for 4 hours. The weak ones are always going to suffer because they can't speak for themselves. With this new system, it is very easy for everyone to practice because when your time is finished, the computer automatically logs you out. When your time is finished on the piano, the power is going to go off automatically. So we introduced these systems to exercise fairness for all students. The other reason why we introduced this system is to have some efficient time management. It hurts me as a director to find a piano student practicing on a video production computer. That would be a wastage of time. I think it would be proper for this student to be on a piano, practicing a piano. If not practicing the piano, at least to be in the digital library and do more research about the course. The other reason why we have these systems in place is to help us in fees collection. Before, a student will sneak into class when he has defaulted on fees and would have no any way of knowing this. But ever since we introduced these systems, it has become so easy for us to know who is fees constrained and who is eligible to access class. We all know that you're not allowed to access class when your account is in negative. But with these systems in place, we are able to know who is in negative and who has cleared all their fees. Then there is proper management of resources. The systems are helping us to know how many students are practicing, where they are practicing from, and on which stations they are practicing. Personally, I see this as a blessing. And actually, for those who want to start music schools or schools in the future, you can borrow a leaf from ESOM. ESOM just celebrated 16 years on April 20th. Trust me, we have learned a lot along the way. So instead of criticizing that, complaining about that, I would personally recommend that you try to watch. I love one student who said that I've looked at these systems and I wondered how the director does all this. I went on and I made research to see how all these systems come together at ESOM. So it will be bad for you to reach there and you say they used to do it like this at ESOM when you don't have a slight idea of how it is done. But yet when you're here, you can learn how it is done. These systems can also help us know who has spoiled an equipment. Because if it's a piano, the system helps us know who last used that particular piano. Before, that was completely impossible. But today with these systems in place, it is possible for us to know. The next thing I would like to talk about are the pass cards. There's a time where ESOM did not have pass cards. And what I can tell you, we nearly closed. But once we introduced that system, it simplified our fees collection and it enabled us to run the school a little bit more better. So we all know that you're not allowed to access the school when you don't have a valid pass card. So I encourage you to always look at the expiry date of the pass card and ensure that you deposit on your fees before the pass card expires. Otherwise, you end up being inconvenienced, and we wouldn't want that to happen. Because once the pass card expires, then you won't be allowed to utilize the resources, you won't be allowed to access the school. Why don't we allow people to access the school when they have an invalid pass card? Let's say that we have 100 students and 60 of them have invalid pass cards. These are going to be the people who are utilizing all these resources, and the people who have valid pass cards are going to be deprived of this particular opportunity. So I encourage you to always look at the expiry date of your pass card and also ensure that you clear your tuition before the expiry date of the pass card. The other thing I want to talk about is the resource utilization. ESOM has quite a number of resources, from the digital library to the books library, the pianos for practice, the computers for practice, video, audio production, guitars, and all these resources. We have a suggestion box, which I'll encourage you to utilize to give us your views. We grow together. We excel together. Like I always say, when ESOM succeeds, you succeed. When you succeed, ESOM succeeds. At least that's what I believe as a person. So I encourage you to utilize these resources. The digital library for further studies. They are sending videos in the WhatsApp group giving you a hint of what we have in the digital library. I must say, even me myself, I felt very good when I could access the videos on my computer in my office, because I can also brush off on my knowledge. You know, learning never stops. We never stop learning. We learn every day. The other thing I want to talk about are the exams. We all know that exams are coming up. Exams are coming up. And for you to be eligible to sit for exam, you would have cleared 100% of your tuition. A student cannot be allowed to graduate when they have not sat for all the 3 exams. So I encourage you to make every effort to clear your tuition, to submit all the necessary resources and assignments in order for you to qualify to move on to the next term. For those who are doing musical courses, there's a software called EROP. Like we have been mentioning, EROP is going to be examined this term. If you have not been practicing, I would highly encourage you to come at the school and practice. We have EROP on all 4 digital library computers. There is EROP in the vocal room or vocal class. And if you can't come to school, I would encourage you to download an app called EarGym from the Play Store. That app works more or less like EROP. If you manage to exercise on it, you just need 1 or 2 times on EROP to be able to reconcile, because we are going to examine using EROP. So please take note of that so that you don't lose those marks. The other thing we need to be aware of is the duration of the holiday. When we give you holiday, the holiday lasts for 21 days, meaning that you take 2 weeks and then you come on the day which you study the following week. For those who are doing musical courses, the practical theory book for term 1, you're supposed to cover from lesson 1 to lesson 32. Then the rest for term 2 and term 3 would also be provided. About the assignment book, you need to ensure that you submit in your assignment book for marking before the exam day or on the exam day. We will not be accepting submissions after the exam day. So please make every effort to submit the books. The other thing I would like to talk about are the school policies. We all know that policies are there to guide us on what to do. For example, the attendance policy. Every student is required to attend at least 80% of their lessons. And if a student misses a lesson, these lessons cannot be compensated. You can't come back and pay and then we let you do a thing. You can ask the teacher for guided practices, or you can ask your students for notes, most especially group students. For private students, if there was prior communication, a lesson can be rescheduled to another day. Where do we find these policies? When you enrolled with us, you were provided with these policies. But in case you misplace them, you can ask, and they can send you the policies on WhatsApp, or they can give you a paper with those policies. The last thing I want to communicate is something I believe in personally a lot. That when it comes to starting anything is the hardest part of starting. Once you start, the chances of completing are very many. Many people were dreaming of joining ESOM this Feb intake, but unfortunately, for some reasons, they have not been able to start. Some must congratulate you about the fact that you have been able to start. But at the same time, I'm one person who believes in completion. Personally, I never start things. Like I've run ESOM for 16 years now. And on so many occasions, I felt like giving up. But just that's a mindset and a thing that planted into me that when I start something, I know storms are going to come, but I need to take it until the end. Because not taking it until the end, it will be a lot of time wasted. I know most of us are completing the first term. I encourage you, come back for the second term. Come back for the third term. And then do all those exams so that you graduate. Some of us are saying, for me, I'm just doing piano. I don't want this graduation thing. Trust me, you won't regret graduating and getting that certificate. We have people who have come to us, those who did not get the certificate when they studied. And they say, I'm going to America, and they're asking me for the certificate. For example, some people come to us and they want us to sell them certificates. I jokingly say that those certificates are at NASA Road. We do not allow anyone who has not gone through the training. We do not. At ESOM, we don't do it. You have to go through the training for you to get the certificate. So anything is going to happen and they will ask you for that certificate. So I would highly encourage you to push and graduate so that you can get the certificate in the course that you've chosen to pursue. I'll end by saying, winners never quit and quitters never win. Thanks for listening and thanks for choosing ESOM School of Music.